We will examine the law of Moses from a different perspective. Rather than celebrating its virtues, we will consider its place in God's New Testament economy, as revealed by the Apostle Paul. First, let us consider the status of the law. According to Paul, the law was inserted alongside God's main purpose, Romans 5:20. It was not part of God's original plan, but was added after the fall of man. In Galatians, Paul compares the law to a concubine, like Hagar, in contrast to the free woman, Sarah, who represents the grace of the new covenant. The law, therefore, does not have a legitimate or permanent place in God's administration. Second, let us look at the nature of the law. The law is holy, righteous, good, and spiritual, Romans 7:12-14, because it is God's word and breath. Yet, its function is different from its nature. The law acts as a mirror, exposing humanity's nature and deeds, Romans 3:20. It served as a guardian, confining people and leading them to Christ, Galatians 3:23-24, revealing that all are sinners under judgment, Romans 3:19. Third, we must recognize the weakness of the law. The law cannot give life, Galatians 3:21. Fallen humanity is dead and needs life, which the law cannot provide. The law is weakened by the flesh, Romans 8:3. And because human nature is so weak, no one can be justified by observing the law, Romans 3:20. Fourth, let us contrast this with the human concept found in Psalm 1. Psalm 1 treasures the law for personal blessing and prosperity, Psalm 1:1-3. But this view is lower than what the New Testament reveals. A tree sipping from a stream, as in Psalm 1, is less than drinking from the river of God's pleasures, Psalm 36:8, and the overflowing rivers of living water in the New Testament, John 7:38-39. Being an individual tree is lower than being a branch in the true vine, Christ, John 15. Even the promise of all prosperity is challenged by the experience of the righteous suffering, as in Psalm 73 and the book of Job, and by Jesus' teaching that the blessed are those persecuted for righteousness, Matthew 5:10. Finally, Christ is the end of the law, Romans 10:4. He is both the summary and the termination of the law. Christ fulfilled the law to end it and replace it with himself. Therefore, believers in the New Testament are not under the law, but under grace. Our focus should not be on the law, but on enjoying and being constituted with Christ himself as our everything.